Welcome to episode 11 of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Ben, it's been 2 weeks since we've done this, so that's my fault, or at least I'm going to take the blame. Had some audio issues. Audio issues last week. Hopefully, I can put a clear sentence together tonight.
Nope. It ain't happening, man.
It's probably because I lost to you last week. We had a good discussion about our matchup, but it played out like we both thought it would.
Yep.
But anyways, this week, playoffs are starting to form. Got a playoff tracker going. Like I said, I'm not gonna be able to talk tonight. I'm gonna share past league winners just so everybody's clear who can possibly do a league reset. So I'm gonna start doing a league reset tracker week to week now until we're done with fantasy this year.
Yep.
Gonna go over just some brief updated league facts for everybody this year. Ben and I, we're going to share our current fantasy power rankings. Of course, we are going to go through this week's matchup breakdowns, as we always do, and then some NFL news, so to say. So, Ben, first, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good, Mitch. You ready for this? I'm magic today, man.
You're magic.
I'm magic. I just did a magic trick. So,
is that supposed to impress me?
Well, I mean, it's hard to impress you any more than I did in our matchup because, like you said, it literally went exactly like we both thought. So, yeah, feeling pretty good about my team right now. Sitting there in fourth place. Right now we're primed. We're looking at those playoffs. That's what our goal was from the get-go, to get to the playoffs. And I've talked to my players a bit. We've had some really good discussions. Josh Allen seems to indicate that he's really ready to keep rolling. Mike Evans just keeps telling me that he is going to keep getting me at least 10 points. He's promising that. Alvin Kamara, he said that he might be willing to do a little bit more than he did last week. But amazingly enough, I don't know if you guys been paying attention, but Ben all of a sudden has a new problem, which is which tight end does he play? He's got Ferguson from Dallas or Kincaid from Buffalo, and both of them are saying, play me. They're making it tough, man. So the team formerly known as Smallville High, looking pretty good this year. Feeling pretty good.
Trade window's not over with yet. That could be potential trade bait for you too.
It is. I will
if you
not
think
say.
You will help on your team.
Yeah, I'm not going to say who might be talking, but there's talks. There's some talks. So yeah, I'm thinking.
Keeping it close to the chest.
Yeah, I know there's a trade on the table right now as we're recording this right now, between Steve and AJ. So, pretty interesting there. AJ getting rid of Dak Prescott might help out Steve a little bit, and then Gus Edwards going to AJ. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens with these teams. So, who knows? Trade deadline is what, next week, Mitch? Week after?
I believe so.
So yeah, I'm always interested to see who might pull something off, or if I'm really being honest, Cameron and I haven't traded yet this year, so there's a good chance that maybe we'll work something out before then. I don't know.
Just as someone who has already won this league, that could threaten league reset, do not help him out. That is all I ask.
Mitch, here's what I remind you. The last big trade that I remember doing with Cameron, I gave him my boy, Austin Eckler. And in return, I got Myles Gaskin and some other lesser running back or something like that. And everyone was really concerned because I helped out Cameron's team that much. He got a top-tier running back. Cameron got to play him for one weekend before he injured himself. So my trades with Cameron typically I would say they kind of work in my favor, not his. So remember that
All right.
as I start exploring those.
Okay. Well, at least you got playoff hopes. My team kind of put the dagger in my team this past week. Any hopes that I possibly had, not that it was much, but you kind of squashed all that. So right now I'm playing for consolation bracket, playing for that 7th or 8th seed. But if I'm one of the bottom 14 teams, I'm gonna make it painful for everybody. I don't think Rob and I's team is one of the worst teams. It's been doing better. Jonathan Taylor's finally playing, and there's any given week my team should score 100. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just played you this week, and you guys lost by 8 points. So it's nothing to scoff at. Like it was very much a close game, and it really did kind of come down to the wire, really. So it's not like it's a bad team by any means. It's things are finally starting to click. And I think we're seeing that with some of the teams in general. So maybe we're finally getting over this hump of what's been a kind of weird fantasy football season. So maybe things are evening out.
Things are evening out. I think that the top teams are really starting to show themselves in the league, and we'll go over that here in just a second.
Yeah.
So first, real quick, just wanted to share with everybody, there are 4 teams that can cause a league reset. That's Cameron, who won in 2019, Ryan and Mark, who won in 2020, Mike, who won in 2021, and Andrew, who won last year in 2022. In the top 6 right now, 2 of those people are in the top 6, and that's Cameron and Mike, which respectively they are 1st and 2nd seed right now. So if we were to start playoffs today, they would both have a 1st round bye. I know we have Ryan and Mark, they're 7th seed at the moment, so they're in the fight. Mm-hmm. Technically, Andrew's in the fight too at 4 and 5, but his team is not looking too good. I think nothing against Andrew's team, but I think his team's going to continue to go downhill. Him and I might be in the toilet bowl at the end of the year. So, yeah,
it's true. I really am hoping that is actually the outcome, and I don't mean it. I'm sorry, Mitch. I do want you down there because my personal hope is that Andrew's playing for last place against you, and then you get the ability to hand him last place, thus taking Andrew from 1st to worst. That would be like the sweetest Christmas gift that I could get, I think.
After losing to him last year in the championship, it would be a very fitting end.
Well, so I mean, we're gonna go over where we think the teams kind of rank and everything, but you know, we'll touch on that some more. But I actually have some pretty strong opinions on that, so I look forward to sharing where I actually think this will play out.
All right. Before we get into some fantasy power rankings, talking about the best teams in the league currently, just some league facts for everybody. Steve has finally won, and he's won 2 straight back to back. So bravo, Steve.
Attaboy, Stevie.
You're still at the bottom of the standing, still in 12th place, but you are heading the right direction. Still think it's a lost cause to make the top 6, but hey, I mean, anything can happen. There's only arguably 2 teams in front of you that, I don't know, like if you get a little lucky and you keep winning, then sure. But I guess, I mean, that goes the same with my team, goes the same with a lot of people at the bottom. I think the top 4 teams in the league, which we'll go over in a bit, like that's clear and obvious who the best teams are. And then the rest, it's a hodgepodge. There's going to be a lot of people fighting for that 5th and 6th seed. So Cameron has made the most roster moves at 60.
Yep.
The next closest is Clark at 31. Oh, Steve also has 31 moves
Steve
as well.
has 31. Yeah.
So most points is Cameron So Cameron's in first place with the most points. You don't get to see that often, but Cameron has 1,034 points right now. Record 7-2. Clark, who's in sixth place, record 5-4, has the fewest amount of points in the league. So Steve and myself and Taylor at a 2-7 record have a better record than Clark, who is sitting 3 games above us. Just how it plays out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the last league fact that I'm going to mention is Taylor still has $100 in his fab budget. Buddy, you got to spend it.
It ain't gonna happen.
It probably won't. All right. Before we, a few more things before we get into the week matchup predictions. Fantasy power rankings. Ben, who are the top 3 teams in the league?
You know, Mitch, I feel like this one's actually getting easier. I'll just go ahead and say that Cameron, again, one of the top 3 teams. And I'll say AJ is up there in one of those top 3 teams. And then I'm going to hand it to myself because I can never admit that Mike is doing good. So, yeah, I think it's me, Cameron, and AJ who are kind of the top teams. And if you look at scoring wise, they're all pretty close. I'm a little bit behind the rest of them, but all those 4 teams I've named have broken the 1,000-point mark already. So they're scoring pretty well. I will say that if you look at some of the stuff here, you'll see that AJ and I are both at 6-3, while Cam and Mike are at 7-2. But the difference in the points against us, AJ and I are almost like 100 points higher in that than Mike and Cameron. So I would say that AJ's team and my team have maybe had to fight a little bit more to get up there. Based on strength of schedule and opponents, whatnot. So I would argue that it's been a little bit harder to get there, and I look forward to maybe making things a little difficult for a certain Cameronian cheese this week. So hopefully, we'll see.
I'd say my top 3 is the same as yours. Mike is close. That combo with Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown, I keep thinking it's gonna run out of gas a little bit, or they'll come down to earth a little bit, but it hasn't. So it's just the rest of Mike's team is very weak, but those 2 players will carry it. And
Yep.
Mike is getting some consistent points with some of the other players too, but those 2
Yeah.
just been huge. But yeah, Cameron, AJ, and Ben, top 3 teams in the league. Mike is close, right behind that. And then after that, it falls off. I think the next best teams after that, I'll give it to Ryan and Mark. It's a very
Mark.
streaky team.
Yep.
And then I'd probably give it to little Josh after that.
Yep. I think both of those teams are going to be climbing a little bit. So we'll kind of see how this all plays out. But Ryan and Mark, I know I can go ahead and say that with the Chiefs players they have on their team, it won't be this week, I think, that they start climbing. I think this may be a hard week for them, but they are definitely very much in the mix, especially when you remember that the difference between the first place team and the 8th place team is really just 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this game. We've said it a couple times now, but this thing is very much still wide open. A lot of things can happen, and there's a lot of time still left. So it would not surprise me to see those top 4 change again and again and again.
So, all right. Projected last place team. Who you got?
You know, Mitch, you and I kind of talked about this a little bit already, but Steve's got 2 wins now. You have 2 wins. So both you guys, neither one of you has scored 900 points yet. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick with my guns here, and I'm gonna tell you that I don't think either one of you finishes as number 12. I think it goes to the team who has yet to spend their fab budget. So I'm sticking with Taylor. I still don't buy it with Taylor's team. 2-7, and they're on a 6-game losing streak. So I think that continues. I really do.
So I'm gonna also say Taylor. I think it won't be Steve. I'm gonna say Taylor. The thing I don't know, and this is where I might change. If Aaron Rodgers actually comes back, Taylor's team could actually put up some numbers. 'Cause I think the Jets will be able to play. 'Cause I think week to week he's always playing two Jets players.
Well, yeah.
And then it also depends with Justin Jefferson. I mean, he can have enough home run hitters to have him win any given week. It'll just be way too late for any kind of playoff hopes. So it's very possible that come playoff time, he might get more out of his players than what he's getting now.
It's possible. I just don't think it's probable, is what I'm saying.
I get you.
So, again, I'll point to some weaknesses on that team. Like, I don't think, relying on the Jets is not the safest decision yet this year. But again, I will point to Gabe Davis. That guy keeps getting some pretty high projected points, and I don't buy it. He's complete feast or famine. He's got 3 games where he has scored 2 points or less. He's got 4 games where he scored double digits. Like, he's just a streaky player, and I think that that's a really good comparison for Taylor's team, is that it's a streaky team. I don't think there's anything that stands out as like, this is dominating. So, yeah, I think that right now, if it's current trajectory, Taylor's team will probably be sitting in that 12 spot.
Going to get into some week 10 matchups. So one of the things I'm going to do different this week, because last week I had issues with audio, and a lot of that got jacked up whenever I started doing the screen share. So this week and going forward, I'm going to try a few episodes without doing the screen share, just see how quality goes, and I'll get feedback from everybody too. So if you want to follow along, look at teams, pull up the matchups on your phone, whatever device you're using, or just listen to Ben and I. So
Mitch, I'll
Ben,
just go ahead and throw a caveat in there, which is we know the majority of our league can't read anyway. So
fair enough. I won't debate. So let's go ahead and start off with Mama's Boys and Tyrod Tyler.
Well, Mitch, since it's your team, I'm just going to go ahead and go first.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say that projections be danged, if you will. I'm going with Mitch's team because it's a battle of 2-7 teams. You're doing some dirty this week, Mitch. I see Sam Howell starting, but
Yep.
but I think my reasoning for this is, number one, I don't think that Taylor has a really great team, but there is still players that are on your team that I think can be big home run hitters, like Christian Kirk, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, or if Dalton Schultz has a game like last week, woof.
That was great.
Yeah. So I think that's enough to kind of help you over the hump. Again, I'm not sold on Gabe Davis. Which version of the Jets players are we getting? Justin Herbert against Detroit. I don't actually think it's going to be a great day for him. Detroit's a little nasty, man. So it would not surprise me if Justin Herbert's stats look a little bit more like when he played the Jets this year or when he played KC, right around that 10-point spot. That's kind of where I
Yep.
think he's at. So I'm trying to steer clear of Justin Herbert this week. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Me, whenever I saw this week I was playing against Taylor, I was like, all right, sweet. And then I went to go look at my roster, and I was immediately like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So my bench total points combined doesn't even break 6.5 points because everybody's on a bye. Oh, and I mean, I got one player that's a uh, second or third string. He's insurance policy if Christian McCaffrey ever goes down, but he's only
Yep.
projected 0.92 points. But yeah, like I'm just getting my bye week out now. That's basically what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's I have home run hitters. I think on principle I'm gonna say my team's gonna win because I'm predicting Taylor is gonna get last place this year, but I have a feeling, or at least I can see my team going into the playoffs being the 12th seed. um, so we'll see. I mean, I think a lot of it's going to depend on what I get from Howell. Did you know that he is the ninth ranked player in fantasy, point
Yep.
wise?
Yep.
So he's had some big weeks,
Yeah, he's
and
had 2 games where he's gotten over 30 points. So
so I'm banking on that, and hopefully Shahid, how you want to say his name.
yep.
Last week was his worst week of the season playing against you.
Yep. Well, and I'll remind you too, on Taylor's team, he does not have Harrison Butker. He does not have Kansas City's defense. So that is
Oh yeah.
roughly that is on the average 20 points that he's not getting. So that's normally not a huge factor, but with Taylor's team, I do think it is. So just something to keep in mind
So
there.
yeah. So I'm gonna say my team just on principle here. Projection wise, yeah, Taylor has it, but I'm gonna say my team because why not? Neither one of us will score over 100.
I think that's a safe bet.
So let's transition over to Orschlin and Mike.
Oof. I mean, here's I'm gonna throw this in there, Mitch. I don't know if you noticed this. It's supposed to be quote rivalry week, and I think I said this before. I don't feel like it's actually people matched up with who their big rival is. I don't think that the scheduling really captured that to the best extent. I would not think Mike and Orschlin to be the biggest rivals, if you will. I would put myself against Mike as rivalry week competitors. But I look at these two teams; they are both projected very, very similarly. You know, here I'm gonna give you the thing that matters here. Okay, we've said several times that Mike's team is based around the explosiveness of two players. And I don't know if you've looked at it, Mitch, but those two players happen to be on buys this week. So,
Yep.
uh, it's going to be a bad week for both of them. I'm going to pick Orschlin simply because I think Trevor Lawrence put some stuff together this week. And the other little catch there is that now that, well, one of the worst coaches I've ever seen in my lifetime has departed the Raiders, they apparently remembered that, oh yeah, we can use Josh Jacobs, or oh yeah, we can do stuff. So it would not surprise me if Josh Jacobs gets a pretty heavy load this week and might carry Orschlin's team to a win.
All year I've been saying Mike has been living and dying with Hill and AJ Brown. And I was like, just got hit one of those bye weeks where they're both out, or where one of them's out. Well, they're both out this week. I'm still gonna pick Mike to win. Oh, it's Andrew's team, man. It fell off hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think San Fran coming off a bye week, I could see them just punching Jacksonville in the mouth. Uh,
Can I ask a
I
quick
know
quick
Trevor Lawrence.
question?
Yeah,
So, beginning of the season, we were really discussing and harping on Andrew for a certain move he made in the draft. Can we go ahead and just call it and be like, yes, Orscheln 100% made the wrong decision by not keeping Tyreek Hill?
well, I'll say in hindsight, yeah, we can say that, but at the
Well,
beginning of season 2,
I just want somebody to say, yes, you guys were right. That's what I want.
no, I'm gonna let it stew for a bit. He knows he's regretting it right now. I'll wait to the end of the year to be like I told you so.
I don't
But
want to wait that long.
I
It's
know
it's it's week 10, Mitch.
it's just gonna be that much better whenever I beat him for that toilet trophy.
All
So
right.
I'll be like, you should have kept Hill. But no, it's because with that, it's like, okay, who would he have not have kept? I would have said Devontae Smith, don't keep Smith and keep Lawrence, and that would have been the wrong decision based on what we're seeing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Well,
I would have
that's true.
expected more from Cooper Cup too. But anyways, yep, I'm going Mike. Neither team's going to score 100.
No. You guys would be lucky to hit those projections, boys.
This is an ugly matchup.
Yeah.
It's
Rivalry week is nasty.
Well, you got Chiefs, Eagles, and Miami on bye weeks. Some of the
Yep.
most explosive teams, point wise. So, all right, let's switch over to Ryan and Mark versus AJ.
This one is that's a nasty one, Mitch. It's another nasty match. I said it a while ago. I kind of hinted at it that I do think Ryan and Mark's team is getting to a point where they can put stuff together. But again, we just said it. Look at the teams that are on bye. The Chiefs, the Dolphins. Just in those two teams alone, Ryan and Mark lost Tua, Jalen Waddle, Travis Kelce. And then add in the Eagles, they don't have their kicker. So Ryan and Mark right now, yeah, they're feeling it. Now, looking at it, I have to wonder if Drake London is healthy. Are they going to put him in over Brandon Cooks? That might be a better play. It might not. I don't know. But in the end, this one I think goes to AJ because just look at the players he's got. CeeDee Lamb, if he blows up, that's a big one. Amon-Ra St. Brown, love it. Adam Thielen, man, I just look at
Crazy.
look at what that move did for Adam Thielen. Like, dang, talk about revitalizing a career. So, realistically, is Carolina god awful? Yes, of course, but Adam Thielen is not. So, way to bank on that, AJ. So I think AJ pulls this one off. AJ clearly goes over 100. Ryan and Mark, I just don't know if you guys can recoup those points that you're losing from the bye week players. So I think it's probably triple digits for AJ, double digits for Ryan and Mark.
I think you hit on the spot. I mean, this is just a lopsided matchup. Bad luck for Ryan and Mark on bye weeks, and AJ, he's not really impacted too
No.
much. He's probably gonna be without Goddard for a handful of weeks. I mean, he was on a bye week this week anyways, but
Yeah.
I mean, AJ, he's going strong with his starters this week. Ryan and Mark, like 3 of your best players are out. Nothing that you could really do about that. With Ryan and Mark's team, they're capable of scoring 150 points any given week, but then also swinging that pendulum the other way.
Yep.
Well, this week, there's no chance for you to hit that 150. If you hit 100, I'd be very, very surprised.
Yep.
So it's not that Ryan Mark has a bad team. It's just you don't got the right players to play this week against AJ. That's just how that one goes. So I give it to AJ.
Yep.
Drew and Clark. So this is an exciting matchup this week. This is 5th and 6th place.
Yep. This one could have some serious ramifications.
Drew is projected 104 points this week.
Yep.
Does he have anybody on a bye? He has Freeman, but he's not. That's not.
He doesn't really count.
He still might put in Kittle too.
Well, yeah, and realistically, there's a chance that Drew might even decide to play Chuba Hubbard. I mean, there's definitely some talent here available. I got to give Drew some props. It wasn't pretty last week, so I apologize for Will Levis, but I got to think there's a bounce back from last week. So I think Will Levis might be hitting at least that projection this week against Tampa Bay. This may actually be the best matchup of the week, to be honest.
It's one of the more impactful ones, for sure. Looking at this, sorry. First, who do you have winning?
Oh, I'm gonna take Drew because I think that if I'm really boiling it down, I think I like their running backs better on Drew's team. I don't really have a lot of faith with Aaron Jones or Najee Harris right now. Stephon Diggs against Denver, yeah, that could be a big matchup there too. So I'll go ahead and say I think it's Drew, but I think it's closer than we think.
So I'm also going to give it to Drew. The only matchup that Clark has is quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know Houston's been giving up a lot of points. So if they get into a shootout, I could see Joe Burrow getting a lot of points this week. But the rest, I mean, Drew, he has wide receivers or winning on wide receivers, running backs. I'll say tight end, assuming he plays Kittle. And then kicker's a wash.
Mitch,
I think Kittle coming off a bye week.
On that tight end thing, I actually think it doesn't matter which one he plays. I think he has the better tight end either way because Kyle Pitts is just not putting it together. And if you think Atlanta's really being played in a way that makes sense or, is using everyone to the best of their abilities, you're really not watching the Atlanta games. Arthur Smith is
I've been paying attention.
Yeah, Arthur Smith is just running a dumpster fire down there that nobody can explain. So,
I would agree.
I'd even say Logan Thomas is probably a more secure 6 points than Kyle Pitts.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I could see Drew scoring over 100. I'm gonna say he falls short of that though, but he'll beat Clark. It'll be a close game, but he'll beat Clark.
Yep. No, I think you're right.
All right, let's move on to Steve and Little Josh.
Well,
so rosters are not fully set here.
Yep.
Let's see here. With that trade, Steve will be getting a quarterback soon, and
Steve will be.
Josh still needs to get.
Neither one of them has a quarterback in their lineup, so once they figure that out, I think it's still going to be a pretty close matchup. Yeah, you look at this matchup right now, and little Josh doesn't have either of his Miami running backs, so that kind of hurts him a little bit there. Not much, because again, you look at Josh's team, Jamar Chase, if he has a huge game, that could carry the entire team. I guess when I really sit down and look at it, I'm going to give it to Josh, just barely. Really just because of Jamar Chase. I still do not like Javonte Williams. You got to think they're going to eventually use Bijan correctly in Atlanta, but maybe I'm wrong. Big moment for Steve, though. He gets David Montgomery back. So if Steve does win this week, I think it's because of that. So I will take Josh, but barely.
This will be a close game.
Yep.
I think I could see both teams missing 100 this week. Really curious to see who Josh is going to get quarterback-wise. Pretty much whoever he gets, it will put his projected score over 100, but I think he'll fall short. I think for Steve, if Montgomery shows up this week, then I could see Steve winning this. Because whenever he's been playing, you're at least getting what he's projected, and he sometimes just comes out big. So, man, this will be a close match. Josh, with how much you're nervous and sweating, yeah, you might lose this week.
Well, I just want to throw this out there because I know Josh is going to listen. Josh, if you ask me for advice on who to play in this game this week, I'm going to purposely tell you the wrong player. All right? I'm being 100% honest with you. So maybe just don't even waste your breath. Don't waste the effort. I will tell you the exact wrong player to play. Or maybe that helps you. I don't know. But I'm not going to tell you the right player.
I think you should ask Steve for advice.
Ooh, yeah. Josh, if you're going to ask anyone for advice, you have to ask Steve. That's the rule this week.
And Steve, you have to give an answer, whether it's your whether it's the right one or you just mess with him. That's up to you.
Yep, I think that's fair. Steve, tell him to play Rashee Rice.
Just leave Mahomes in there too.
Yep.
But no, this would be a close matchup. I think Steve. I'm not a fan of Dak, but if we see the same Dak that we saw last week, and he's had moments like that this year, I think that's one of the better things that you could do for your team this year, Steve. So you're doing what you need to. Your team is starting to play some. Mixon is showing up, which is good. It's just your weak spots, your wide receivers, but any given week they can blow up. It's just they're more on the end of putting up low points. So, but I'm going to give the edge to Josh, not by much. It all rides on Montgomery.
It's true. It really is true.
So, all right. The final matchup that we're going to go through will be Ben and Cameron.
Been waiting for this. Let me set the scene here, Mitch. This is a battle between the first place team and the fourth place team. Both teams kind of looking pretty hot right now. And nothing's more telling than the fact that they are both projected so close. Yet the fact remains that Cameron, once again, cannot keep a kicker on his roster. So, we all know that as soon as Cameron adds in that kicker, he immediately jumps up to a projected favorite by more than a point. Um, when you look at this team and these matchups, I think the players to watch right now is 100% the two quarterbacks. Uh, which Lamar shows up and which Josh Allen shows up. And then you got always remember that Cameron has Christian McCaffrey. But the good thing is that Ben has a pretty hot Alvin Kamara right now. So when it comes down to it, I think Cameron wins. uh yeah, I do. I think he's got a little bit better, stronger roster right now. Um what I'm really praying for is with David Montgomery back that Jahmyr Gibbs just goes back to what he was before that injury to David Montgomery, because that may help me quite a bit. I am praying very much for a really hot really hot Buffalo team to just walk all over Denver. If Josh Allen wants to throw every single touchdown to Dalton Kincaid, I will be okay with it. Yeah, I really don't have a better option than playing Kareem Hunt right now. But yeah, I'm banking on wide receiver play and my quarterback. Cameron's got a pretty stacked team. I'm really hoping that Ramondre Stevenson doesn't do anything. So, yeah, I think Cameron pulls it off, but again, I'm hoping for a pretty close game. I would love that win, but tempered expectations.
Well, I'm gonna say I want you to win, Ben. I think
Go ahead, just
the
say
the
it.
the buy that you have, the one buy that you have, not having Pacheco, I think is gonna hurt. I think
Yep,
that's gonna be the deciding factor here.
I'd agree.
Now, what I will say, you have Baltimore and Cleveland divisional match going on this week. Those divisional matchups could be interesting.
Yep,
I think if you win, it's because Cleveland punches Baltimore in the mouth.
yep, I would agree.
Man, this will be the highest scoring game of the week between you two. I do think both teams will break 100. Um, it just
Well,
depends on if your team will do a little bit more than consistent, or if some of Cameron's players just don't show up this week.
yep, yep. So
So I'll
I,
give
I'm
the
it.
edge to Cameron,
Yep.
but if Pacheco was playing, I think I'd give it to you.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying, boys. I'm gonna try and upset the Cameron. I make no promises. So we'll see how it goes. Whew.
All right. Well,
Yeah, we made
that's
it
our
through all that.
matchups. We did.
Yeah. We
So,
should.
we got two more things we're going to talk about tonight,
Mm,
and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up for this episode. So, you brought up international games.
yeah, I
Is it a
mean,
good thing?
yeah, we've seen what 3 or 4 international games this year.
It's been a
So
handful. I think
we
at
had 2
least
in
three.
London. I think 2 in London, and is that two in Germany? Because one's coming up in Germany, right?
I'm pretty sure it's Colts and Patriots.
Yeah. So they're clearly making more of an effort to do some of these international games, and I'll say I'm not crazy about waking up early for these things, but it does seem like they are really getting some traction. The Germany games are sold out now. The arenas aren't as big. It's uh more like 45,000 people in the stands, but they're still selling out. So
Yep.
there clearly is some demand for the NFL overseas. And I think that, tapping into that market for the NFL is a good thing. Who knows? Maybe we do see some expansions to more than the US down the line. I don't think it's anytime soon, but it would be kind of fun to see if maybe that can expand out a bit more and, you know, maybe take this to a little bit higher level, maybe even get some new teams. I don't know. But you know, I love seeing, like, I love going on Twitter and seeing the stuff from Germany because man, they go out for this stuff. Like, they show up, they fill those stands, they're wearing jerseys, not necessarily from the teams they're playing. Chiefs and Miami game, yeah, there's some Chargers, there's some Giants, there's some Broncos, some Cowboys. There's a little bit of everyone, and that's kind of the beautiful
Mm-hmm.
thing is that they're just there for football. They're not necessarily
Yeah.
even there to root for a team. So to me, that may be the most pure form of enjoyment of the sport. So it's kind of actually beautiful when you think about it like that. Now, that being said, again, I don't like waking up early, but I can get behind Rich Eisen being the voice of the broadcast. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that. Give me that over Troy Aikman any day of the week. Joe Buck, go sit down.
I'm a big fan of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good for, I'm going to say, American football.
Yeah.
Because I think, at least NFL, they're looking at like, hey, we have a whole fan base over there. We could grow this over there. Let's get to a level where we can compete with soccer. Could you imagine if they start doing football for the Olympics or stuff like that, or
Uh,
having
I
World Cups?
I thought I heard something about flag football at the Olympics now.
I
So
think I did hear something about that.
yeah,
Um,
I could really
but
go for that. That's how you get me to go to the Olympics, Mitch. That's how you get it.
but yeah, no,
So
I think it's good for the sport. Um, I'm not a big fan of soccer at all. I think the sport itself is boring, but that is the biggest sport in the world.
yep.
And baseball is falling off. I'd say basketball's staying probably neutral, probably about the same as what it's been. It's a
Mm-hmm.
it's a diva league,
Yep.
but you at least have teams all around the world that compete in basketball. But American football, it's exciting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's blown up a lot in the past 25 years. So, and it comes with some suspense and some drama and stuff like that in a good way. So, I think it's great. Me, I'm up that early anyways. There's hardly any Sundays where I could actually sit at home and watch it at 8:30. But yeah,
Yep.
I think it's good for the league. Those that are true football fans, you look at it like I got football all day. I
Yep.
could wake up, watch games, have a small break for lunch, watch games all the way till dinner, small break,
Yep.
finish it out. So I think it's good.
Yep. I'm on board.
So, well, as always, I want to finish with the top 3 teams in the NFL. I do want to bring up last week, whenever we recorded this, you and I had 2 of the top 3 the same. Then you also had the Miami Dolphins in there.
Yep. And I'm eating those words. I think I may have jinxed them, to be honest.
You
Um,
didn't jinx them.
well, I had good reasonings last week that I spelled out, which is I really thought the Dolphins were going to win. And I gave you my reasons, which were the Dolphins got over there on Monday. The Chiefs didn't get there till Thursday. Uh, Historically speaking, the team that is there earlier has more time to get acclimated and usually wins the game. So I thought that would be why
For sure.
Miami would win, but they did not. The thing that I probably should have taken into account was Miami is not beaten an actual like playoff caliber team in like 400 days. So something to remember on that. But going to the rankings, Mitch, I'll go ahead and say that I think the 1, 2, 3 is. I'm going to say the Eagles are number one. I'm going to say that the Baltimore Ravens are number two, and the Chiefs are number
Put them at
three.
2.
Yep. Chiefs are number three because I just cannot say that they are that dominant because, again, it was the defense that kept them in that game. Offense has to figure this stuff out. And they admitted as much last week. But those three teams, I think, are playing at a much higher level than the rest of the league right now. So,
Yeah, the Chiefs offense, they do need to get it figured out, and I think they will yet, or at least have spots where they're a top 10 offense in the league.
yep.
The fact that Chiefs defense is one of the best defenses in the league, it's crazy to think that it's like, man, just think if the offense was clicking, this would be one of the best teams we've ever seen.
Yep.
Or at least of what it's capable of. So, but it's because of that defense, they got a chance. Well, because of Patrick Mahomes, they'll always have a chance.
Yep.
So I do agree with you on the three teams. I have Eagles, Chiefs, and Ravens. Chiefs and Ravens, those could be flipped one way or the other. So I'm going to put Chiefs at 2 for the moment because I just will.
Yep.
But Eagles, I think they are clear number 1. They need to fix their defense.
They will.
But yeah, I think, and looking at the NFC, it's
Who's going to
any team's
challenge
going to
them?
struggle to. It'll be tough. So earlier this week, I saw an interesting stat on Jalen Hurts that it's like we definitely got our guy. Like last year, it's like all excited, like all right, sweet. Are we gonna see a lot of the same stuff this year? And we are. He's playing through an energy that's not being shared.
Yep.
I could kind of guess what's going on. He just doesn't want that knowledge out there.
Yep.
But Jalen Hurts is tied with Peyton Manning, and I can't remember who the other quarterback is. Most, like he's 12-0 in regular season against winning teams right now.
Yep.
That's insane. So he's a winner. I mean, the whole Eagles organization is a bunch of winners. They haven't been winning games by a whole lot this year. I mean, I think most games have been determined by 7.5 points.
Yeah, but they're pulling out wins, and that's what matters. Because if you go ask Travis Kelce, there's no such thing as an ugly win. A win is a win.
Yep. And a lot of those wins, they have more. They've turned the ball over more than the other team.
Yep.
So they just get that. They get that changed. So, but yeah. Then I think that's gonna do it for this week.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's all we got this week. So we'll obviously do this again in a couple weeks. I think Thanksgiving week we'll get things hashed out. We're gonna do something brought up earlier this year, another fun bet to do for Thanksgiving week with those games. Ben, you
Yep.
and I still got to do those blazing wings.
Yeah.
We should try doing that. Hopefully here soon. Maybe we could do that within the next week or so.
Yeah, I think we can figure something out.
So, but yeah, as always, if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you all next week. Peace.